session with the latest sports news, updates, game previews, breakdown, and analysis in, around, across, and beyond the Ateneo. And now, let's get ready to run down! Radyo Katipunan, 87.9 FM. Follow at Radyo Katipunan in our social media accounts on Facebook, Instagram, and on Twitter. Mamangha sa lalim at ganda ng ating kultura at diwang makabayan sa mga salita at pahina. Sa tulong ng mga guro at manunulat ng panitikang Pilipino, halina't tuklasin ang yaman ng ating panitikan, ang pamana ng ating lahi. Ito ang Sari-Sari, tuwing Miyerkules, 11:00 ng umaga, dito sa Radyo Katipunan, 87.9 FM.
Jesuit Music Ministry, music that uplifts the soul. Follow jescom.ph on Spotify and Jescom Music on YouTube. We are also on iTunes and Deezer.
Are you feeling sore? We can make that better. Tune in to the Ateneo Senior High School's first radio program, Soar, the Seniors On Air Radio, where you can listen to music you want, straight from our playlists. Don't change that channel yet, because Soar is ready to put the you in youth. Soar, Seniors On Air, here on Radyo Katipunan, 87.9 FM.
Get your daily dose of inspiration through our music. Follow jescom.ph on Spotify and Jescom Music on YouTube.
Radyo Katipunan, 87.9 FM.
Calling on all young male professionals. Do you wish to live an extraordinary life? Are you tired of the routine and mundane and long for a dynamic, adventurous, and even dangerous life? Do you wish to make your life count and hope to make an impact long after you're gone? Do you wish to live a life of service to society, to country, and to dear Mother Earth? Then you are the one we are looking for. Consider the Society of Jesus. Join the Church's gallant army and turn your world upside down. Call the Jesuits Vocations Promotions Team, 426-6101, local 3406. Once again, 426-6101, local 3406.
Meron? Ano nga ba ang meron? Paano nga bang mabuhay ng tapat sa meron? Don't you wish you can relive your philo classes? The terror teachers? The terrible oral exams? Or the even terrifying but liberating and life-changing aha moments? Lundagin mo, baby! Here's your chance! Lundagin mo, baby! Kasama ang mga pilosopong sina Jovi Miroy at Ron Capinding. Lundagin mo, baby! Leaping upward, leaping forward. Lundagin mo, baby! Leaping to greater heights, to greater wisdom, to greater magis. Lundag na, Ateneo! Radyo Katipunan is now online. See our live feed on facebook.com/Radyo Katipunan. Check out our Instagram and our Twitter at Radyo Katipunan. And subscribe to our YouTube channel at Radyo Katipunan FM for more exclusive content.
Radyo, 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 Katipunan. Radyo, Katipunan. Radyo, Katipunan. Radyo, 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 Katipunan. Radyo, 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 Katipunan. The voice of W Eagle kami, di mapipigil sa pagbabalitang tumpak at tama. Buhay atenista, sa loob sa labas ng eskwela, ating ibibida lahat ng
umaga sa ating mga tagapakinig sa Radyo Katipunan at magandang hapon naman sa lahat ng kasama natin ngayong hapon.
All right, what is up, Blue Eagle Nation? Thank you again for tuning in to us over here at radyo-katipunan 87.9 FM, the voice of the Blue Eagle. Kung nagtataka kayo, sino yung nag-greet kanina, hindi po ako yun. Ngayon lang po ako nagsalita sa microphone. Pero, okay, alam po natin, Katipuneros, meron tayong mga scheduled rotational brownouts due to the low power supply ng ating Luzon grid. So, ingat po tayo lahat. Hope we're staying safe at home. Pakahanda na rin po yung inyong mga emergency kits, pati yung mga rechargeable lamps ninyo. Kailangan po natin yan. Pero kami dito sa Radyo Katipunan, hindi kami nag-off air. Matibay kami. Pag basketball ang usapan, matibay kami. And of course, joining me from the maroon side of things over at Katipunan, Javi Palanya, former Fighting Maroon and FPU Baby Tam. Javi, hindi tayo nawawala sa ere, di ba?
Basketball never stops, Anthony.
Okay, so Javi, of course, we already posted it up on social media, and this afternoon is going to be reserved for going over yung mga highlights and stories of the first round of the NBA playoffs. But I'd like to open up our episode for this afternoon with perhaps the biggest news to hit Philippine basketball right now, and it is none other than, for me, one of the greatest, parang all-time Ateneo Blue Eagles, Kiefer Ravena, is following his younger brother. Yes, Kuya Kiefer Ravena is following his younger brother, Ferdy Ravena, over to the Japanese B-League because Kiefer has just signed a contract with the Shiga Lake Stars. Kala nyo Lakers, no? Hindi, Shiga Lake Stars for the 2021-2022 season. Kaka-announce lang po niyan. So, Kiefer and Ferdy will now be playing in the B-League's West region, and Javi, parang this is parang the best opportunities come to the best players in basketball, and I think parang perfect time to just seize the opportunity and test the waters over there.
Yeah, I think there's no better time for Kiefer to test out this opportunity. After all, he's been wanting to play overseas, actually, particularly in the NBA. Diba? He tried to blaze that trail going into the NBA. He signed with the Texas Legends in the NBA D-League when it was still called the D-League. But things didn't work out there for him. And then he came back here to play for NLEX in the PBA. But now he has this opportunity to play in the Japanese B-League with his brother 30, although magkalaban sila. And I think it's a perfect opportunity habang bata pa si Kiefer to take advantage of these kinds of opportunities. After all, Philippine basketball will be the one who will be also benefiting from this experience of Kiefer's.
Right. Tapos, Javi, tingnan mo to. The Japanese B-League is one of the youngest in Asia, ha? Parang startup yan kung titingnan natin. The PBA naman, on the other hand, has been in operation since the 1970s. Pero, okay, just look at where the B-League is at right now. In terms of attracting top-tier international talent, medyo nakakalamang dun ang Japanese B-League in just a few years of existence. So,
Yun nga, I don't know how they did it. It's like the PBA has been moving backwards with it in terms of progress. No, a lot of the leagues have been just starting recently lang compared to the PBA that like you said, started in 1975. But then the other leagues internationally, like the B League, the NBL, have been there relatively newer to the PBA, but they are attracting top-tier talent all over the world. And some of these talents have also made their way into the best league in the world, which is the NBA.
Yeah, and Avi, we have to mention dito Rui Hachimura, Yuta Watanabe sa Toronto Raptors. I mean, though bata lang yung the Japanese basket, ito nga, the Japanese B-League, no? There's no shortage of depth of talent that they've been able to produce, diba, at the NBA level. And to think na Ferdy and Kiefer will be exposed to that system of Japanese basketball where, for one, tuloy pa rin ang laro kasi, di ba? Ang hirap kasi dito sa atin sa PBA, there's no assurance kung kailan babalik ang games. Pero at least sa Japan, okay, kahit na may mga surge sila ng COVID, but the fact that you can play regular season games, ang laking bagay nun.
Yeah, sobra. And especially, yun nga, walang kasiguraduhan. It's hard for players, especially mga bata pa, na ma-stunt yung growth nila in terms of their career. They want to keep going and going until their legs allow them to play, di ba? Kasi syempre pag tumanda ka na at bababa yung capabilities mo, it's not gonna be the same thing. And that's why opportunities like this have to be seized right away. And the Japanese B-League is a perfect avenue for Kiefer to further his style of play, to really establish himself as one of the forerunners of the greats of Philippine basketball.
Right. No, and Abby, just to just to conclude, this part of our episode for this afternoon. Tingnan mo na lang, no, the Japanese B-League is opening up its doors, attracting foreign talent. Kahit na Asian talents, 'di ba? In the region, no, like Ferdy and Kiefer, no. Pero for the PBA, like how big of a shift does it have to take the PBA to say, oo nga, no, baka kailangan din natin mag-open up ng doors natin na parang hindi na to 1970s eh, 'di ba? Hindi na, parang medyo obsolete na yung mga rules na ganun eh.
Yeah, definitely. The PBA is stuck in the past, no. We have to accept that we have to innovate. We have to accept that times have already been changing and we have not been adapting to it. And that is why we are behind in terms of development with our basketball and even in other sports. No? Kasi lagi natin pinapairal yung pride natin. And I think it's a known fact that politics have been playing a big role in that. So we have to do away with all these other things that are not really necessary and really just establish things that will push Philippine basketball and Philippine sports going ahead.
At the very least, Javi, we just like to see the PBA support these up and coming Filipino hoopers, diba, playing overseas. Kasi again, it will benefit the national team, diba? It will benefit also the PBA, the exposure to high level talent. So, yun na lang. We wish Ferdy and Kiefer all the best in their journey, no? Parang two former Ateneo Blue Eagles flying high in the land of the rising sun. Can't wait to see that. Wish you all the best, Ferdy and Keith. Okay, Javi, main topic na tayo para ngayon. NBA playoffs, first round, 2021. Okay. First up, Javi, may question ako. What is up with the fans these days? Si Russell Westbrook, na-shower ng popcorn. Si Trae Young, dinuraan. He got spat on. Then, si Kyrie Irving, iniwasan niya yung water bottle. And, I mean, parang, have you ever seen fans this unruly ever since, I don't know, Malice in the Palace pa, 2004?
Well, I think the fans have been away from the arena so long that they forgot how it was to conduct themselves in environments like that. No, wala. And I think it's just the heat of the moment, really, the playoffs, and now they have thousands of fans already in attendance, and talagang the game is for the fans, and sometimes you can't blame them for their emotions, but at the same time, there is always a proper way to express those emotions in a way na di mo mababastos yung mga players and yung kapwa mo fans in general.
Parang ano ba, dahil ba sa napakatagal na quarantine, yung parang pagpasok nila sa arena, hell yeah, we can do anything we want. Parang
na-hype sila masyado eh.
Oy, pero Abia, parang the NBA is taking this very, very seriously. Not only the NBA, pati law enforcement. Kasi some fans, I think I read it over sa Twitter ni Shams Charania of The Athletic. Sabi niya, the fan yata who threw that water bottle at Kyrie, he was charged for assault and battery, and that's a criminal offense. Di ba? Parang,
Yes. And I think that's indeed the proper way to deal with it. Because if you won't deal with it right now, kung kailan hindi pa siya masyadong really masama yung nangyayari, it will just go on and continue. So you really, that the NBA is doing the right thing, the US government is doing the right thing and controlling it at the very start pa lang of the pandemonium. Because
Yeah.
kung lumalaya ng palala, and then it's gonna get harder to deal with.
Yeah, and parang when you look at when you look at the possible solutions to this, alam ko yun yung tama, 'di ba? Detain them, 'di ba? Charge them for criminal offense kasi that's putting another person in danger, 'di ba? Pero parang I think I came across Damian Lillard's statement on this. Parang okay, 'di ba sasabihin ng, for example, the Boston Celtics sa TD Garden, okay, that fan is banned indefinitely, 'di ba? Pero parang sinasabi ni Dame, kasi if you ban them from the arena, what's the assurance na they can't do it again in another arena? Di ba? Kasi parang, you just ban them from that building. What if you just ban them from the games, like indefinitely? Di ba? Parang, wala na sila pupuntahan.
Well, I think that's also the proper thing to do. And they should really be taught that lesson. You can't be just because you hate the player, you can't. It doesn't mean that you can shower them with popcorn or pour water over them. That's really not the right thing to do. I mean, you can be in the arena, you can shout at them all you want, but throwing stuff at them, that's just another thing.
Yeah. Like, kaya nga ako, parang I haven't seen fans this wild ever since that Detroit Pistons Indiana Pacers brawl in 2004 when some douchebag in the stands threw a water bottle at Ron Artest. Rule number 1, you don't throw anything at Ron Artest. Alam mo naman gagawin nun sa'yo. Pero again, player safety is at stake here, and
Yes.
diba?
I mean, you can say whatever verbal stuff you want. That's already bad in itself, right? But at least you're not harming the players physically. So, have some boundaries talaga. And the NBA and the US government is doing the right thing in setting those boundaries and really enforcing the law in doing that.
Yeah. Dapat wag lang pagbawalan din nabi yung mascot ng Denver Nuggets, yung Cougar, si Rocky, kasi meron siyang gig sa stands. Bibigyan niya ng parang teddy bear yung fan. Tapos kung ayaw ng fan yung teddy bear, bubuhusan niya ng popcorn. Yun yung ginagawa niya. Okay. Okay, so again, player safety first, 'di ba? And I hope we don't see any incident like these to follow, no? Pero Javi, talking about the first series that we mentioned, no? The number 1 seeded Philadelphia 76ers versus the number 8 Washington Wizards. Now, the Wizards, they prevented a sweep because they won 122-114 in game 4, where another crazy fan ran down the baseline. Buti na lang tinakil siya ng security guard. Pang Washington Redskins yun na-tackle American football na yun Pero, Javi, okay, for Philadelphia, of course, they're winning this series. They're bagging it. Pero, Joel Embiid, after back-to-back 30-plus outings, he leaves game 4 with right knee soreness. And this is why I don't trust Philadelphia, because of Joel Embiid's health. Diba? Parang volatile yung health niya. Hindi mo alam kung may injury na naman siya. Tapos, they rely so much on Embiid, offensively and defensively, to the point where I don't see Ben Simmons carrying their offense while baka defense pwede, pero kulang diba? checking out the signal right now. Have you okay lang ba? Can you hear me? Parang, sorry to anyone who's listening to us right now, have you pa-check lang ulit ng mic? Parang na-loose lang yata. Okay? Just a second. Abi, okay lang ba? Parang nawala yung ano. Hindi kita naririnig. Ayan, yan.
Rinig na ba?
Yes. Yun. Ako, clear.
Okay.
Okay. Sorry. Okay, we're back. Oh, sorry to our listeners right now. Sorry, nagka-technical difficulties, but we're back on air. Yun na nga, no, Javi, just to put the verdict on the Philadelphia 76ers, are they for real or for show?
Well, Anthony, right at this stage, it's hard really to tell. Like I said kanina, before we got disconnected, Joel Embiid's health is as volatile as the crypto market right now. It's up and down. So we don't really know. Just when they were looking like the legit contenders that they were, being at the number 1 seed in the Eastern Conference, stopping the Brooklyn Nets, I thought, they were silently on the rise already. Joel Embiid and Ben Simmons were playing harmoniously. Tobias Harris was playing was playing excellently, like that, just how he's being paid, according to his salary grade. And right now, just because Joel Embiid left the game, they look like a whole different team.
Yeah. But yun na nga, no? Parang, again, it's just so hard to bet on Joel Embiid's health, even though he's putting up MVP-type numbers. So, my take on this, Philadelphia's for show. They're not for real. I just can't bet on Joel Embiid.
But they definitely will win the series over Washington. I mean, Washington just doesn't have the personnel to deal with Philadelphia right now. But going into the second round, that remains to be seen.
Yeah. We'll see. Okay, moving on now to the I think this is the most intriguing, the most entertaining series so far in the Eastern Conference. Number 4, yes, you heard it right. The New York Knicks versus the number 5 Atlanta Hawks. Okay. The fact, Javi, na dinuraan si Trae Young, you can tell New Yorkers, they hate with a capital H. They hate Trae Young. Pero si Trae Young, he loves it. He loves the villain role, di ba?
He is really taking that villain role and embracing it totally talaga, no? He loves it. He thrives in it. He really wants that spotlight. And he's really taking over for the Atlanta Hawks, no? Julius Randle, after winning that Most Improved award, is nowhere to be found. Derrick Rose is, in fact, leading the New York Knicks in this series in terms of scoring, when, in fact, in the regular season, Julius Randle was on top with 24.1 points per game. But now he's just held to a mere 16.3 points per game, while Derrick Rose is the one leading them with 22.
Yeah. How does it happen, no, Javi? You win Most Improved Player, talking about Julius Randle. But then you become most regressed player, diba? in your first, in the first round. So just imagine, parang does this mean the Knicks? No, although I love the comeback to the playoffs, diba? After what, eight seasons ba of not being there, parang
since the Melo era.
Yeah, exactly. Parang, is this the Knicks just being overachievers lang, na parang they're happy they're there, pero wala eh. Julius Randle, if Julius Randle is your best offensive player, kukulangin ka.
Well, I don't know, Anthony. Julius Randle seems to be holding the fort in terms of being that best offensive player. He is the one dishing out plays for his teammates. He's knocking down shots from the outside. He's bullying his way into the paint. But that Most Improved Player award seems to have a curse. If you look at the players who have won that award, the following seasons after that, they have regressed, and not a lot have really been able to recover from that quote unquote curse.
Yeah, yeah, parang sayang, no? Sayang si Julius Randle, no? Because right now he's just being outplayed by Trae Young, 'di ba? As the other star in the opposite end. But have you know, kasi I noticed this. Trae Young during the regular season, ang game niya is he'll get to the line, shoot free throws. Sort of like a James Harden, 'di ba? Pero right now, even though he's not getting to the line, pero yung floater game is sobrang solid for Trae Young.
The Knicks have had a problem with that drop coverage covering Trae Young. They don't know how to play him if they're gonna give him that in between game, or they're gonna take him to the foul line. But if they take him kasi to the foul line, he is as great a free throw shooter as anyone in this league. He is up to the 90% areas in terms of free throw shooting. But yun nga, that floater game is just as deadly.
Yeah, yeah, and I mean, 'di ba, it just gives Trae Young the perfect weapon as the villain, 'di ba? That unstoppable floater of his. Parang have you know for us who are familiar with 90s basketball, 'di ba? To some of our listeners who may not be that familiar when the Knicks were perennial playoff contenders back then, no? So no 1990s, meron silang arch rival tinatawag na Reggie Miller ng Indiana Pacers. No, and Reggie would taunt the Knicks crowd. He would taunt Spike Lee. Favorite niya si Spike Lee with the choke sign. Can you name another playoff rival of New York outside of Reggie Miller na I think it's Trae Young, di ba?
Well, maybe outside of Reggie Miller, there you could name one more, which is someone named Michael Jordan.
Okay, okay. Fair enough naman. Pero like with the Knicks being back in the playoff stage, I just love it. I just love yung the vengeance, the air of vengeance of hate between these two teams. It's classic NBA playoff drama yun eh.
Yeah, and if you look at the stats of the series, they're really pretty evenly matched, no? It's just really who performs better down the stretch, and right now the Atlanta Hawks are ahead in that department.
Yeah, and but again, Atlanta just seized a 3-1 series lead, so I think it's over. I think Atlanta moves on, diba, from this. Okay, so moving now to the number 2 seeded Brooklyn Nets versus the number 7 Boston Celtics. Kasi have you know, ayokong sabihin na the fan did Kyrie right. No? Pero if we mention the disrespect na Trae Young is getting, Kyrie literally stepped and shoved his foot on the Celtics logo at midcourt. Diba? Parang fans hate Kyrie for who he is on social media, on TikTok, on Instagram. Pero diba, to step on the Celtics logo, diba, we all know na he didn't have a good exit from Boston.
Yeah, and wala, diba? He said that he would stay in Boston for a long time, and then he suddenly left. And now he did that gesture. He will definitely be public enemy number 1 by the Boston Celtics faithful, because we all know that Boston is one of the most revered franchises in the NBA. And for you to do that to one of the most revered franchises in the NBA, then that will really be detrimental to your reputation.
Sobra. But I'm not sure if, diba, if Trae Young can handle it. He loves the villain role. Kyrie kasi alam naman natin he's so parang insecure, diba? He's so self-conscious. I don't know if he's gonna live up to that. Pero diba, parang
Kyrie has a different way of playing the storylines. No, he's really, he's not just pure sports. Si Trey kasi, the way he embraces the villain role is just really how a villain is in the sports setting. But Kyrie kasi, he plunges a lot of issues with it. Eh. That's why it's kind of complicated to deal with him.
Yeah. But I mean, diba, if just imagine Trae Young just saying, diba, I think game 1 or game 2, he was like to the New York crowd, diba? He was, it's too F-bomb quiet in here. Parang, okay. Badass, diba? But anyway, so Boston Celtics, I know Jason Tatum is an all-world scorer, diba? He kept the Celtics alive with a game-free 50-piece McNuggets. Pero take a look at this. Game 4 for Brooklyn. They won 141 to 126. Tatum scores 40. Great. But KD scores 42. Kyrie scores 39. James Harden scores 23 and dishes out 18 assists. And in the Game 5 closeout, kanina lang, Harden scored 34, grabbed 10 rebounds, dished out 10 assists. I know you talk about the Brooklyn Big Three, diba? Pero, uh, agree with me on this or not, pero I think the head of the snake here is James Harden.
Definitely. Kyrie already said it at the start of the season when the Big Three was born. He said that James Harden, you will be the point guard, I will be the shooting guard. So definitely, when James Harden starts humming to start the offense, then the Brooklyn Nets will be alive. It's with him that the Brooklyn Nets offense starts, and it ends with KD and Kyrie.
And take a look at this, Javi, no? Harden in that Game 4 win, 18 assists. Close out win, 10 assists. Last two games, 28 assists. This is different, diba? Parang, sorry lang, Javi, I'll just cut you off there. Pero this is different from Harden in Houston na ISO ball, patay yung bola, dribble it out. But this one, he's the playmaker eh. Iba na eh. Diba? His role's different.
He acknowledges the team environment that he's in right now, and he acknowledges the role that's being given to him as the head of the offense, as the head of the snake, as you say. So now that he has teammates who are fully capable of taking their own shots, of making their own shots, he doesn't have to exert that much effort anymore into making plays for himself because he has a plethora of scorers around him that will do that job for him.
Right. And it's okay. I've been thinking about this now, Javi. How on earth do you stop the Brooklyn Nets when all three are clicking, diba? When all three are, diba, pedal to the metal, yung offensive firepower nila is just going supernova. Parang how?
There's just no way to stop them. If all three big stars are clicking like that, there's no way to stop them unless you outgun them, because you can defend everyone around them and make sure that they don't score and make the big three beat you. But if the big three will score like this, I don't think there's any way of stopping them.
Let's go back a bit now, Javi. Backtrack. Boston Celtics, Game 3. That's when they won, diba? So parang, I was taking a look at the B-ball breakdown video by Coach Nick, no? And he was saying na, maybe, okay, follow the Boston blueprint. Parang put some pressure on them. Lamangan mo sila ng konti for 3 quarters. If you lead them in the 4th, and then maybe force Kyrie or KD to play hero ball, and then hope they miss. Parang ganun na lang eh. Di ba?
That's true. The approach of trying to get on them from the very start of the ball game and trying to build a big lead going into the 4th quarter, because the problem with Brooklyn is they don't play defense. So if you're gonna establish a big lead early on, it's gonna be hard for them to go back, because if you're just gonna keep trading baskets with them, they will not be able to hurdle that lead. So you have to get on them from the very start, establish that lead early on, because they have a hard time going back from big leads because they don't play defense.
Exactly. And you mentioned it. I think it starts with the rim protection. No? Blake Griffin, not a rim protector. DeAndre Jordan, not the same rim protector. So maybe that's where the Achilles heel of Brooklyn is.
That definitely is where the Achilles heel of Brooklyn is. But if you saw it kanina earlier on today's game and also the past 2 games, once their offense starts to click and hums, their defense follows. So you can't have them establish that rhythm on offense, because once ginaganahan sila on offense, they also exhibit the same attitude on defense.
Yeah. Hirap. I don't know. Parang if I'm trying to nitpick na lang where I can find the weaknesses of Brooklyn. I don't know. Find defense, okay. Pero how about bench? Are you sold on their bench?
Their bench is still pretty much reliable. You have Bruce Brown, who just makes a living out of flashing in the middle, going for those slips in the middle and finishing at the rim. But, you also have Joe Harris, who's a very capable scorer. And he has been making plays not just for himself, but for his teammates as well. So, it's a very well-rounded Brooklyn team that has been made this year. And I think they're for real. Especially in contrast with the way Philadelphia has had in terms of their health. Well, the Brooklyn Nets are fully healthy, to say the least, right now. So watch out.
Wow. So, Javi, they're not for show for you. They're for real.
They are for real.
Okay.
Definitely.
Okay. And okay, so as you know, my San Antonio Spurs have been long gone from the postseason race. But here's the team I'm rooting for. Here's the player I'm rooting for. Giannis and the Milwaukee Bucks. So the number 3 Milwaukee Bucks just swept the number 6 Miami Heat 4-zip. Revenge yan for last year in the bubble. Pero I don't know, Javier. Parang Milwaukee gives me 2019 Toronto Raptors vibes na out of nowhere, they just take the East. Parang, kasi if you notice the Bucks this year, hindi na sila yung, top of the win column. Hindi, they're more under the radar. Diba? They're not leading in wins. And just follow my logic over here. Last year in the bubble, Milwaukee, they had more shooters. Kyle Korver, Wes Matthews, Ilyasova. Pero yung shooters kasi nila, once they get the ball, wala, parang spot up lang eh. Diba? Parang they don't have dribble moves. But this time, Milwaukee, they have switchable defenders like Drew Holiday, PJ Tucker. So, I don't know, parang is Milwaukee Brooklyn, even though semis though, is this like the East Finals already?
I believe so, no? Kasi these are the top teams in terms of with Brooklyn. I believe this is the top offensive team in the Eastern Conference, and with Milwaukee, I think they're the top team defensively in the Eastern Conference. No, well, if you're going to consider Philadelphia, but I think they're at 1 and 2. But it's essentially offense versus defense in this series. No, so it's going to be very interesting. You're right. There's a different team dynamic with regards to the Milwaukee Bucks this year. They have players who are experienced in Drew Holiday and PJ Tucker, who are not just catch and shoot players. As you said, they can make plays for their teammates as well. Can do it off the dribble. Can do it catch and shoot, like you said. So it's gonna be a different thing for Milwaukee this year. Much in store for this series, and it's going to be very exciting. I think it's gonna go the distance.
Wow, same with me, no, same with me. And I've been listening to a lot of podcasts also, no, Javi, and they said what changed with Milwaukee was before they would solely rely on drop coverage. Na parang okay, let the opponent shoot 100 frees in a game, kasi Giannis and Brook Lopez are there to block the shots at the rim. Pero what happened was they gave up too many frees. Now Milwaukee is switching. So at least parang okay, the opposing teams are parang Milwaukee has varied their defensive strategy now. So how do we adjust?
And that's a good thing because that's how the game is played nowadays. You live and die by the three. A lot of teams do that. And now you have switchable guards and Drew Holiday, you have PJ Tucker who can also defend from the perimeter. So that's a good thing that bodes well for Milwaukee because, like you said, they lack that perimeter defense. They can't just rely on having the other teams miss their threes because a lot of teams have impeccable shooting. And if they really want to go the distance, they have to cover all areas of the floor on defense.
Like for me, this semifinal series, Brooklyn and Milwaukee, the winner of this will win the East. Like that's my bet for it.
I believe so too, Anthony.
Right. So okay, that wraps up our Eastern Conference review and predictions. Over now to the Western Conference, where the number 1 Utah Jazz are holding on to a 3-1 series lead against the Memphis Grizzlies. Okay. If you want offense, Javi, Utah has loads of it. Kasi Jordan Clarkson, si kabayan natin, 6th man of the year, 24 points off the bench. That's when they took the 3-1 series lead. You want Donovan Mitchell to go supernova? He can kick out the shooters like Bogdanovic, Joe Ingles, diba? But it's strangely, I don't trust Utah on defense, even if they have Rudy Gobert. Kasi if you sit down Rudy Gobert, the Utah defense just goes down. Like Derek Favors isn't the same rim protector. Royce O'Neal is too small. Bogdanovic, Ingles are defensive liabilities. Clarkson is good at scoring buckets. Period. He doesn't do anything else. Diba? Parang so is Utah at number 1? Are they for real or for show?
It's really hard to tell at this stage and point, Anthony, because I read an article kanina, Utah seems to be peaking at the right time. They had their setbacks in terms of their injuries at the tail end of the regular season and at the start of the playoffs. But right now that Donovan Mitchell is back and they strung 3 straight wins to take that 3-1 lead against Memphis, they seem to be the healthiest team in the Western Conference right now, and them having that number one seed is a good thing for them if they want to go deep into the playoffs, because injuries have been hit. The injury bug has been hitting all teams right now in the playoffs, hitting them really hard. You have AD sitting out for LA, Chris Paul having that bumped shoulder. They're everywhere. Luka is also dealing with something, and the Utah Jazz, everybody of them is healthy right now. But you have to fix that stuff on the defensive end if they want to really go deep into the playoffs, because they have a lot of these defensive liabilities without Rudy Gobert on the floor. You don't have that rim protector. Derek Favors is not a rim protector. Royce O'Neal, you said, is too small as well. So, yes, they have to fix that stuff on the defensive end. And it's ironic that we're talking about this because Quinn Snyder is a defensive coach. He preaches defense, but they seem to be compensating that with their offense. But what if their offense goes flat?
Yeah, that's it. You said it, Javi. That's why for me, my verdict, Utah's for show. I'm not too sold on that number one seed. Historically though, parang it's so hard to say na number one seeds can go all the way. Diba? It just doesn't happen that way, no?
Yeah, especially in the Western Conference where everything's so competitive. Having that number one seed seems to have that. You have that target on your back, that added pressure. So, well, and they are a young team with no experience in the latter rounds of the playoffs. So pressure if they want to go deep, and that's why that lower seed bodes well for the Lakers. But I don't know how things are gonna go right now.
Yeah, happy before we head to that playoff matchup. No, number 4 LA Clippers are back from the dead against the number 5 Dallas Mavericks. Happy, just when you thought na, diba, Luka was putting up Hall of Fame numbers in games 1 and 2. No one was stopping him on the Clippers. Pero how? Okay, simply put, no, how did the dysfunctional Clippers, diba, rise back from the dead, and they're now they're in a dogfight right now. The series tied 2-2.
Well, aside from Kawhi Leonard and Paul George playing exage on the offensive end of the floor, I think what really went well for them was the addition of Rajon Rondo. What the Clippers lacked before was an emotional leader, a vocal leader, something that Kawhi Leonard and Paul George wasn't.
Yeah.
They had to have someone who would rally the troops, tell them that, hey, this is what we have to do. This is what we have to do to win. Because Kawhi and Paul George, of course, they will lead by example. They are all-star caliber players. They will be one of the greatest of all time when all else is said and done. But they don't have that voice. They don't command that respect from their teammates that will really get them over the top.
Yeah, exactly. That dynamic duo, Kawhi and Paul George, they can score with the best of them. They can defend with the best of them. Pero yun nga, that vocal leader, that was lacking from the LA Clippers. And okay, going back to Ty Lue, after going down 2-0, he was like, I'm not worried about that. I know Ty Lue was lying. He was a bit worried, no? Pero don't you think na, Javi, Ty Lue was the best coach so far? Parang strange as it seems. Ty Lue was best for the LA Clippers kasi he's no stranger to dysfunctional teams. Diba? Remember, 2016 Cavs, LeBron and Kevin Love were having troubles of their own. So parang maybe Ty Lue was saying, this reminds me of back in the day in Cleveland.
Yeah, and he has experience even as a player dealing with with environments like this, being part of that championship Los Angeles Lakers before. You had these personalities that were really so big to deal with, alpha personalities, and he has experience dealing with it, being that point guard with the LA Lakers before, and that coach with the 2016 championship Cavs team. Now with the LA Clippers, I think he really is the perfect guy to head that on the bench, seeing as it is with Kawhi Leonard and Paul George. And now Rajon Rondo, he is that extension of Ty Lue on the court, which is helping them get over the hump over this Dallas Mavericks team.
I do like the point. The Rajon Rondo making a difference. Yeah, I didn't see that coming. No, have you? Pero is it still possible for a Luka Doncic who is now suffering from nerve pain? Sabi niya masakit down from the neck down, and isipin mo yun, parang my mom kasi she has what's this, carpal tunnel. So parang ganun din yung nerve pain, no? And I know That's super painful, diba? But can a hurting Luka Doncic still rescue the Dallas Mavericks?
They simply don't have the personnel to deal with the LA Clippers. I think the first two games were he played just really great, spectacular basketball. But though it's gonna have to be a miracle of biblical proportions, ika nga ni Nico Alili, if they're gonna win this series because they simply don't have the personnel to deal with the LA Clippers.
And I think, Navi, speaking of personnel, Dallas knows they have to move on from Kristaps Porzingis. When you are 7'3" and you average one more rebound than 5'11", oh my God, that's 5'11" Facundo Campaso, who is just roughly my height. Diba? I'm 5'10". So parang 7'3", you average one more rebound than me? I mean, they're moving on from Porzingis after this year.
I think they really should have. Mark Cuban should have that idea planted in his head that he is not that star that Luka Doncic would win a championship with.
I mean,
Could be Boban.
yun, 7'3" din yun, di ba? Pero at least si Boban, binubugbog si John Wick, di ba? Javi, seriously, I saw Kristaps Porzingis. He couldn't post up Reggie Jackson. Nung nag-switch sila, he couldn't post up Reggie Jackson. No back down moves, nothing.
Guy's soft as a reed. I don't think. And Rick Carlisle before has said that they were not gonna do post plays with Kristaps because he just can't. He can't perform on the post.
Oh my goodness. And yun nga, and he's injury prone, diba? I mean, he's just not Lucas number 2. No?
You could compare. They have the same body composition, him and KD. But KD, don't let that frame fool you. That guy is strong and he can play in the post and bang bodies inside. But Kristaps, he's not the same.
Yeah, definitely not the same. But remember, KD had a hard fall against Boston, a risky fall, but he got back up. Na parang okay, so what? Diba? I tore my Achilles, but okay, I'm back. Okay, so again, Dallas in a world of trouble against the LA Clippers. So, okay, you have a number 3 Denver Nuggets versus number 6 Portland Trail Blazers. If you want more scoring than the Utah Jazz, this is the series for you. Javi, okay, although the Nuggets won 147-140 in double OT earlier today to take a 3-2 series lead, I just slow clap, standing ovation, Damian Lillard, after donating 1 million pesos to the fire-stricken PGH, he shoots a playoff record 12 3-pointers in a game, finishing with 55 points, 10 assists, and Javi, okay, in overtime and double overtime, here's a stat for you. Damian Lillard, 17 points on 6 of 8 shooting. All other Portland Trail Blazers in OT and double OT, 2 points on 1 for 19 shooting. How about Dame?
Well, as the popular adage goes, what goes around comes around. When you donate 1 million pesos to the PGH, that's what you get, 55 points. And get this, Anthony, he played almost the entire game with the double OTs. But I think if I read that right, he only had 1 turnover the whole game.
Wow.
How can that be humanely possible? You get beat up, you get backed out going into the rim, you get pressured up when you get into the logo and you only turn over the ball once. Damn, I'm just in awe of how Damian Lillard is. I mean, what are you on, bro?
Parang Javi, it's only him and Steph Curry. Like those two guys who can siguro pag teammate ka nila parang pwede ba akong tumira from 35 feet? Pwede?
Pwede. Di ka naman pagbabawalan. Hindi pwede. Okay lang yan.
Like, Javi, I know, parang I know the Dame and CJ McCollum tandem that will end, I don't know, maybe this year or next year. Pero no one has my respect in the NBA aside from Dame Lillard. That level of respect, diba? Parang you just know he will bleed his heart out for his team, diba? I know he's never gonna win a ring in Portland, never. Diba? Pero Dame Lillard to go to go put on that type of performance, unbelievable.
It was just crazy, and you just gotta give respect where respect is due, because that was a heck of a performance. Whatever you say, even if they lost that game, that would be go down as one of the best performances in playoff history.
Yes, yes. And okay, having not to put down the Denver Nuggets, who okay, they're up in this series, no. Jokic had another Joker performance, 39 points, 11 boards, 9 assists. But I think they're for show. They're not going far without Jamal Murray. Diba? Only the Joker can only take you so far. Wala yung running mate niya eh. There's no Jamal Murray who in the bubble was spectacular. So I don't Denver might win this series, but they're not going to go far.
Yeah, like Steve Smith pointed out after the post game, no, Jokic looked really really tired, and if he's gonna carry this Denver team, I don't think he can do this on his own. He's been really performing so well, and I think he's a lock for the MVP award with the way that he's been performing this season, even in the playoffs. But how far can Nikola Jokic bring this Denver Nuggets team? And with the way that he was performing in the end game kanina, yung mga shots niya sobrang mukhang fatigue na eh.
Yeah.
And with the amount of rest that these teams have in between games, I don't think it's much recovery that is needed for Jokic to recover and really perform at that higher level every game.
Yeah, and diba, tawag nito, I don't know if it's Nikola Jokic's conditioning kasi 'di ba he's always been chubby, he's always been sort of lanky, pero maybe he has to think about that in the off season, no? Kasi as you said, he's fatigued. He looked tired, 'di ba? And you can't carry an entire offense if you're not in shape, 'di ba? So maybe Nikola Jokic has to think about that.
Well, I think in terms of being shape, he is in shape naman siguro. I don't think he would play that kind of a season if he wasn't. But what I'm trying to say is he can't do it alone. You know that absence of Jamal Murray really hurt them, and it's amazing that he's been able to carry that team and the way that the other players have been stepping up. You have Monte Morris, you have MPJ, Facundo Campazzo has come into his own on the offensive side of things. But yun na nga, if you don't have your best player in tow for a deep playoff run, you're not gonna go deep.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, so Javi, do you think Denver closes this out? Pero again, my player of the series, my player of the playoffs so far, Dame Lillard.
55 points, 10 assists, just one turnover. You gotta be kidding me, man.
Dame Dalla. Paano ba kaya Javi, kung mag-donate naman siya sa PGH one more time?
Yun yung advice ko eh. Baka gusto rin ni LeBron mag-donate ng 1 million pesos. Baka sakali.
Oh my goodness. So Dame Dalla, Dame time, any day of the week. And wow, just in awe. We are in awe of Damian Lillard and what he's doing. Okay, going now to Javi's favorite series so far. The number 2 Phoenix Suns versus the number 7 LA Lakers. Game 5. Kanina lang. Phoenix Suns take a 3-2 series lead commandingly. 115-85. Devin Booker 30 points. Pero Javi, story of the series, health. Diba? Health and injuries.
Yes.
Chris Paul, shoulder injury. He left the game. Diba? He was fouled by Wes Matthews. He had to leave the game. LA injured si Anthony Davis. He was there coaching on the sideline. So, okay, parang try to even this out. Phoenix, no Chris Paul. LA, no Anthony Davis. Who has the advantage now?
Sorry, Anthony, what was that?
So, you take a look at LA and Phoenix right now. Phoenix minus Chris Paul. LA, no Anthony Davis. Both are super crucial to their team's campaigns, but okay, you're down one star. Phoenix or LA?
I still have to go with LA on this one. LeBron has been proven in the postseason, but yeah, on the other side of things, you have Devin Booker, that other star. He has still no experience. This is his first playoff run, and it's gonna take supernova effort for him to carry this team without Chris Paul in tow. because whatever you say, the Phoenix Suns have performed so well kanina. They did win by 30, but this Lakers team, you can't count them out. They are still the defending champions. And if Phoenix will close out this series, they have to do it in the next game. Because if pinaabot pa nila ng Game 7 to, they are gonna lose.
Yeah. I think parang for Phoenix, no, Game 6 is their ultimate closeout game. Like if they can't do it in Game 6, Game 7, LeBron hasn't lost a Game 7 series, diba?
Yeah, and I think he would consider that it's his first time to lose a back-to-back in the first round of the playoffs. And, I don't think he'll like that.
Yeah. You think LeBron's kind of scared na he might lose his in the first round for the first time in his career? Kasi parang for him, if he loses in the first round, oh my goodness, ESPN, Bleacher Report, LeBron loses in first round, out of the GOAT conversation, blah, blah, blah. You think he's thinking of that?
I'm sure he is. I'm sure that's on his mind. And that's why I watched his post-game interview kanina, and you could see the body language that he was really nervous. But you would see that he has it on his head na babawi ako. I'm gonna go all out next game. In no AD. He said that I'm gonna treat next game as AD would not be playing. So I think he's gonna go supernova next game and really try to force that Game 7.
But for LA though, the subtraction of Anthony Davis, wala kang defensive anchor eh. Drummond is not a rim protector. He gets rebounds, but he's not a rim protector.
It equalizes the matchups because with Anthony Davis, it really creates a lot of mismatches because you have Mikal Bridges guarding LeBron James. You have DeAndre Ayton, the only one capable of guarding Anthony Davis. But then when DeAndre Ayton sits, sino na babantay kay AD? Diba? Who is that big off the bench for Phoenix? Dario Saric or Frank Kaminsky. They don't have that lateral quickness and that length to guard AD and to slow him down. So it really evens the matchup problems right now with LA minus Anthony Davis.
For me naman, no, Javi, I'm not so sure, but even if Chris Paul returns to this series, you just can't bet on Chris Paul in the playoffs. His health. Because remember, against the Warriors in Game 6 when he was still in Houston, hamstring blew out. So parang, I know Chris Paul's presence is so important to Phoenix kasi of the leadership, the buff. You see how Devin Booker performs when he knows Chris Paul is there. Grabe yung kumpiyansa niya. But Chris Paul, he's parang for some reason or another in the playoffs, the injury bug keeps biting him.
Yeah, just when you thought that he was looking A-okay already, past win nila when they made it 2-2. You saw that he was already making shots that he was used to taking because beforehand, kitang-kita mo talaga yung ilang sa shoulder niya eh. You wouldn't see him making those mid-range pull-up J's. You wouldn't see him making those fadeaways, especially going to his right. But in the game after that, he was looking 100%. But when Wes Matthews bumped him kanina, he felt that shoulder again. And I think, I don't know if it's going to be downhill from there.
Yun nga, parang what heals faster na lang if you're Phoenix or LA? What's gonna heal faster? Chris Paul's shoulder or Anthony Davis's groin, diba? Parang ganun na lang. Unahan na lang who's gonna get back. But you think we're still gonna see those two come back? Parang with only 2 games left?
Well, I don't know. It's really hard to tell right now. With the way sports scientists nowadays, I'm sure both teams' training staffs will be working 200% overtime to fix these things. But let's see down the line. But like what Mark Spears, I think it was Mark Spears who said. I read the article earlier today that it's not gonna be the best team that's gonna win the Larry O'Brien Trophy. It's gonna be the healthiest team.
Yes, exactly. And again, in a time of COVID, health is wealth, diba? Even for NBA players. So again, hopefully we don't see any more superstars whom we've loved to see perform in the playoffs succumb to injury. So again, hoping for the best come the second round, we're gonna be separating pretenders from contenders very very soon. Javi, okay, just the next semifinal series that you're gonna be excited for. Which series, either East or West, are you so gonna be looking forward to?
Oh, that Brooklyn versus Milwaukee series is definitely something I'm looking forward to. You know, it's gonna be a battle. I think it's gonna go the distance. It's gonna be a dogfight, offense versus defense. You know, stars will come to play. I really think it's gonna be a blockbuster.
Yes, yes, sir. Same here with me. Hopefully, no, Giannis. I don't want to jinx it, no, but Giannis gets to his first finals. Diba? I'm really rooting for the guy. Hopefully, no. I'd love to see a two-time MVP get there. And you know, for everything that Giannis stands for. Anyway, Javi, thank you so much for joining us again over at Radyo Katipunan for our Katipunan crossover hoop talk this afternoon. Buti na lang hindi tayo tinamaan ng brown.
Okay.
Okay, Javi, ano na lang, quick greetings and shout outs before we close.
Shout out to my family. I think they're watching also today. And shout out to everybody. Keep safe. To all the listeners of Radyo Katipunan and the Rundown. Thank you so much, guys, for watching. I'm happy to be back.
Okay, thank you, Javi. See you again soon for more playoff breakdowns only here on Radyo Katipunan 87.9 FM. Bye, Javi. Thank you.
Thanks, brother.
Welcome to the Rundown, where we take you right into the action with the latest sports news, updates, game previews, breakdown, and analysis in, around, across, and beyond the Ateneo. And now, let's get ready to run down!
Radyo, 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 radyo.